So Prince Harry made some fairly wild allegations against the Sun, but it's not just Prince Harry. There's 40-odd other people involved in this claim as well. But if you caught my video yesterday talking about the knockback by the judge and how the judge is really frustrated at both sides as it happens, because Harry's tried to make some changes to his pleadings, those are the allegations that he makes, and the Sun, News Group newspapers have made some objections to those responses, those amendments, and the judge is furious with both sides. But there's one particular bit that I thought would be really interesting, because this wild allegation of Prince Harry that I'll come to in this video. But also, Al from Art of Law has done a great video on the overriding objective, pleadings in general, making changes to your claim, and how they might apply to smaller claims. So they might well help you. So I'll link that video in the description below. That's going live at around about the same time as this one. And if I could just ask you one tiny favor, and if you could hit that subscribe button before we go ahead, because I am just teetering now on 600,000 subscribers, which means I'm getting ever closer to 1 million subscribers, which means if 1 million people have subscribed, that means I've helped 1 million people in some way or another because they chose to subscribe, even if that's just by entertainment or that I've helped with their case. Humbly, over the years, I've had hundreds of people email me and tell me that I've helped with their case in one way or another with my videos. So please do subscribe. I'll be really grateful. But in this video, let's look at this fairly wild allegation that Prince Harry made against the Sun. And we're looking at this paragraph here, which is 9, talking about row 10. Now, row 10 was these the changes, the objections, all of which between Prince Harry and the Sun with regard to changes to his pleading and his statement of case in the particulars of claim. The particulars of claim, if you didn't catch my video yesterday, is supposed to be a very straightforward factual document, the facts upon which you rely either to bring a claim or defend your claim. They shouldn't plead law. Now, this is one mistake that I do see now and again, usually with students, but even some lawyers make this mistake of pleading law within the particulars of claim or within the defense and annexing all sorts of other bits and pieces, such as the code for Crown prosecutors and all this sort of stuff. Those should not be in particulars of claim. A particulars of claim should be a concise statement of facts and allegations, particularized to the extent that they can be proven if the evidence supports those claims, if that makes sense. You say these facts happened, this is what I'm complaining about, this is the plea of my case, and this is why I say it's a cause of action and I should be due damages or a remedy and whatever it is. But let's look at this allegation here. This is to do with tracking devices, bugging of vehicles, because this whole claim, you remember, was to do with alleged voicemail interception, live phone call interception, tracking and bugging and all of these kind of things. Now, Prince Harry did drop the allegation in relation to his previous girlfriend, Chelsea Davy, originally saying that her car had been bugged, but I believe that has been withdrawn. So let's look at this allegation as it now stands. The judge says the substance of the plea at paragraph 6D of the draft was previously pleaded, and only an inference of use directed at Prince Harry and all his associates has been added. The requirement was for Prince Harry, the Duke, to provide particularity so far as he was able to do so. Now, just to enhance on that a little bit, what the judge is saying, that he was supposed to provide more detail, more particulars to set out the factual basis for these claims insofar as he's able to do so. Because obviously, if you don't know factually everything that happened, and you might rely on details from the other party before you can make all of those statements and claims, you might need that information first before you can set out all of those facts. But you are supposed to set out as many of those facts as you can possibly do so within your pleading and your statement of case. However, it goes on. And it explains this bit here as it happens. Pending disclosure relating to his plea, it's understandable that the Duke cannot provide specific details of live call interception. But, and here's where it gets really interesting, but the allegation has been made in relation to all his associates for the entire period of the association. So this is for everybody. No particulars are provided about bugging, and a previous specific allegation in relation to Chelsea Davies' car has been withdrawn. Permission is refused, and this is the real crunch of this point here and these allegations. Permission is refused for the allegations of planting bugs in rooms and residences and bugs or tracking devices on cars. as no particulars whatsoever of such allegations have been provided. The objection is therefore upheld to this extent only. So just to explain that, the Sun News Group newspapers objected to these amendments and these changes to the draft because there were no particulars. I'm inferring here from the back and forth. Obviously, I haven't seen the documents behind and what this judgment is referring to, but I can draw from that these objections were about these allegations to the fact that there's no particularity of these allegations drafted in. And so as lawyers, what we would often do is say, well, this should be struck out, for example, because there's no particularity. You might say, that guy stole something from me. But if you don't say when, and you don't say what, and you don't say how, and you don't say anything at all about it, any of the particulars about the alleged theft, because remember, for any crime, there's usually a parallel civil action. For example, theft, it's a crime, but there is also a civil loss. Criminal damage, there is a crime, but there's a civil recovery available for it because it has a monetary value, and so on. And so if you just say, this guy stole my car, but you don't say what car, you don't say when, you don't say how, you don't say anything like that at all, any detail that you rely upon to bring your claim, then the other side might say, well, this lacks any particularity whatsoever, and we invite the court to strike it out. And the court might well do so. A lack of particularity is one good reason that the court might look to strike something out, at least parts of the claim. And so the objection here is very likely because there was no particularity here, and Prince Harry was seeking to make amendments and things like that. And quite clearly the judge has here, no particulars are provided about bugging. The previous one about his ex-girlfriend has been withdrawn, but permission is refused for the allegations of planting bugs in rooms and residences and bugs and tracking devices on cars, as no particulars whatsoever of such allegations have been provided. Now I can infer from that it's likely that what he's saying is that they bugged my room, they bugged my residences, they bugged my cars, they placed tracking devices on my cars, but hasn't said what car and when, for how long, and how he knew, and all of these kind of things. So there's no detail whatsoever. And so the judge is essentially saying, well, there's no particularity here whatsoever, so I uphold the objection of News Group newspapers because there's nothing here to go on. It's just a bland allegation with no particulars. And again, remembering from my video yesterday and from Al's video, which I'll link in the description below again, please do go and watch it. It's a fantastic video. I've had a look at it before it goes live. Speaking of the overriding objective, you see the court and the judge exercising the court's powers is going to look at these claims and ensure that it's not wasting the court's time. Too late, as it happens in this case. The judge has said this is now wasting the court's time. It's taken up far more resources than was really necessary, than is really justified. And this back and forth about these allegations, if you remember from my video yesterday, the arguments, they can't even agree on what they're going to have this trial about. Now remember that there's a whole process of disclosure and witness statements and everything else, and the judge is insistent that this trial is going ahead in January, or they must settle it before then. I might hazard a guess and say that they'll probably settle it before then, but because the trial, and the reason for that is the trial is likely to be the most expensive bit. They're likely to be significant costs already, will be in the hundreds of thousands of pounds already, and the trial will likely be the most expensive bit. So if I were to hazard a guess, I would guess that they'll probably settle it before then. But we'll wait and find out, and then maybe I'll do a Mystic Dan thing like Al does a Mystic Al thing in his videos. We'll wait and find out. But in the meantime, the judge is insistent that this is going ahead in January, but this bit in particular, clearly there's just no particulars, and so it just appears to be a bland set of allegations with no actual detail to back up those allegations against the newspaper. That's not to say any of those didn't happen. It's not to say that his claims aren't right, but at the same time, without the detail and without the full case that they are to meet, then it's impossible for the newspaper to respond to all those allegations properly and say, right, well, you say this happened on that date and that couldn't have happened because of these reasons. They don't have all of that. And so without all of the detail, they don't have the case that they have to meet. And so really they can object to that. That's what they've done, and that's what the judge has ruled. So I thought you'd find that one interesting. But also for what is really a technical judgment, these are some of the interesting juicy bits that I think warrant a bit of explanation here, but also how this might help you to understand what might be just a small claim or something much less complex that you might be going through. So do check out Al's video. I'll link it below. I think that'll be useful to you. And as I say, please do subscribe. I really appreciate that. And as always, thank you for watching.